Okay, so here I am with this one. Let's get this one out of here first. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. Um, this one is a composition that came together over time, but um, basically there's kind of an I shape here. It's kind of a field that I made into an I shape, and it's really a field division, and it's I started to work on it because I looked at it, and immediately I thought it was sort of like its own little galaxy or solar system here. So I immediately got drawn to it with the sun, moon, stars thing in my head. And there's this row of beasts moving through here, and those, there's 4 of them, and they're all sort of different. But the beasts themselves, the strays and all that, I use them as sort of self-portrait elements. So although it looks like kind of a group of beasts talking to one another, it's very much about me, moment to moment, mood to mood, talking to myself in a way, letting the forms of expression overlap. And what I really wanted to talk about was there's this square here. This is my frame of reference, this rectangle square thing. I talk about it a lot, and it's very much tied to the way I started sewing and quilting with the little squares. But in this case, it's really not representative of kind of the box that I put myself in, or the frame of reference that I use to stay safe or depart from. And this stitching that I've done around the edges here only sort of made that square that was there before more apparent. The I shape sort of, or the I, or the field division expands outside of that square. So that's the part that is consistent with my concept of vibrating outward. And the center here, which has really become kind of a sun, is the heart of the thing, the ring of vision, really. And so I just wanted to explain the composition a little bit. I've done a lot of stitching here. The back is very, very kind of raw. And I actually dipped this piece into dye. I kind of dipped it up to the edge of this I shape. So even from the back, you can see that's how the center became sort of lightened and more apparent, the I shape. You can see I just dipped the corner of this in the dye up to this line. So it's a little bit kind of messy and confusing, but it still gave this a clearer lightness in this area, which wasn't there before. This piece was actually, it's hard to show. I should probably reconstruct one that's similar. There was a piece of patchwork, and I laid a piece of fabric over, and I cut all these holes through. That's where you can sort of see the patchwork through. So there was a really kind of confusing way that this came together. So now that I've done all the stitching here, this part has not been quilted, that is, stitched all the way through. It's only been basted to a backing here. So what I'll do is I will stitch this with white thread, but I'll change the balance of the stitch so it's more like the glue stitch. And in this way, the whole thing won't become too busy, but it'll still all be evenly stitched. I call that wizard stitching, where I manage what appears and disappears in terms of the balance of the stitch, how much of it floats on the surface and how much floats on the back, which can give you an evenness of quilting without stitching entirely across the same the whole thing in the same stitch, which sort of tends to, well, it takes away the definition of the areas.